3, 2, 1.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Jose here at the First Round By Podcast, accompanied by my boy, Mr. Sauce.
What is going on, one and all? Happy Sunday. That's right, Sunday, because this is airing on Sunday.
We're recording this on Friday. After work, we're both pretty taxed, but we're making it happen.
That's right. Nothing better on a Friday night than to talk about football, huh?
Questionable.
Shush.
Just kidding.
All right, so episode 59, creeping up on episode 60.
Is this another monumental episode?
It is another monumental episode. This is actually, I believe this is our 6th one in a row.
Yeah. I think this is probably the longest that we have gone recording, sadly.
No, it is, and it's been awesome. Actually, as of this recording, we are sitting at 85 subscribers on YouTube. I don't have it pulled up for the stats on everything else, but that is incredible. Thank you so much for the support. We definitely really appreciate it. And actually, our I can't remember which episode it was. It was 2 episodes, the Stephon Diggs episode. It eclipsed 1,000 views.
Let's go, our first 1,000 video.
Unbelievable. So
1,000 viewed video.
That's awesome. So we are actually about what is it? A week away from the NFL draft.
Yeah, less than a week away. So
that's right. It starts on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. So we're gonna have some juicy content for you guys next Sunday. We're gonna take a break from the Riparooskies segment this Wednesday and Friday. So no Riparooskies this week. But we will be back next Sunday with some fresh draft content. Steven, what we got on the slate for the day?
All right. Today we have got we're going to start off with a bang. So, man, okay, so we had just talked about recently Stephon Diggs trade, right?
Yeah.
So, you know what that did? That left the Bills with a void at wide receiver, at their number one wide receiver spot. We were actually kind of shitting on them for a little while,
yeah,
because of their wide receiver group, right? Well, it recently came out the Bills GM. We were just talking about how in the draft they're gonna go hard after a wide receiver and everything, but apparently the Bills GM thinks that they don't need a true wide receiver number one. What?
Yeah. So let me read this real quick. So I got this from the interwebs, of course. So it says here, Bills GM Brandon Beane does not, ladies and gentlemen, believe the Bills need a true number one wide receiver this season.
Unbelievable.
So what are your initial thoughts on that?
Okay, so obviously I'm just a fan. So
are you a Titans fan?
I am actually a Titans. I'm wearing First Round Buy merch. So head to firstroundbuy.com and grab you some merch.
So much promo, bro. Stop that.
We promised we weren't going to talk about.
All right, let's go.
What the fuck?
Your
is
thoughts?
that?
Come on.
Promso?
Your thoughts.
So my thoughts. It's a passing league. So I actually was thinking about this too recently. I was wondering. I was like, that's actually not a bad idea, because if you think about it, we talked about it. They already have what seems like wide receiver 2 / wide receiver 3 targets, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're tight ends. Kincaid and what's the other guy's name?
Dawson Knox.
Dawson Knox, that's right. So they've got 2 dynamic tight ends. They've got 2 to 3 pretty decent wide receiver options. I mean, they could still go for a receiver at some point in the draft. Mm-hmm. So in all honesty, Josh Allen, he distributes the ball a lot. So I don't know. Maybe he's onto something. Maybe they don't need a true number one. Granted, true number ones, they dictate coverages a lot. But if you're distributing the ball a lot and have a balanced attack with running, and you have a really good quarterback, maybe you don't necessarily need one. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on it?
This is juicy for me. So I don't know. So my initial thoughts. All right. So you had Stephon Diggs for, was it 3 or 4 years there in Buffalo, right? Mm-hmm. And obviously he was our receiver 1, and he helped elevate Josh Allen. I don't think Josh Allen would be Josh Allen today without the help of Stephon Diggs.
Correct.
Obviously they made it to the AFC Championship game, lost to Patrick Mahomes. was it a couple years ago? But that's with Stephon Diggs.
Okay.
So you're telling me you're going to be able to duplicate the same amount of success with less people? Because you also got to remember, they lost Gabe Davis. Obviously, you lost Stephon Diggs. And now, you got Curtis Samuel, Shakur, or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
And who's the other receiver? They got like another receiver that's like not a big name. Did I already say Curtis Samuel? I already did. But nonetheless, they really don't have like... Unless Shakur, because he was kind of popping off a little bit towards the middle of the year whenever Stephon Diggs would disappear. But I seriously do think that they need a true...
Matt Collins.
There we go. I really do believe that they definitely need a wide receiver one. No disrespect to Josh Allen, but Josh Allen is not a Patrick Mahomes. Because in my opinion, I feel like Patrick Mahomes doesn't need a true wide receiver one.
Correct.
Josh Allen does. And that's been kind of proven because he hasn't even been able to make... I mean, he's made it to the AFC Championship game, but he has yet to make a Super Bowl.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? So that's my thought. And the AFC East, obviously you got the Dolphins, who are pretty good and they're pretty consistent. So that's going to be a team that they're going to want to kind of go back and forth with. And then the Jets, I mean, who knows how they're going to look with Aaron Rodgers coming back and freaking...
And he's got weapons.
And he's got weapons too. So that's going to be a different, definitely an interesting division in my opinion. But I do believe, and like I said, I'm just a casual, right? But I do believe that they definitely need a wide receiver one. Maybe they go after Adonai Mitchell or Xavier Worthy towards the end of the first round. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah,
and I mean, in all honesty, unless there's a super huge run on the wide receivers and everything, there's going to be somebody solid at their slot.
I think they're picking 27 or 28, something like that.
Although it is still lying season, so they could potentially go for one of the top targets if somebody fell into their lap and everything, which would be an interesting scenario for them because since I'm not a Bills fan, I don't really exactly know what their needs are, but it definitely... Oh, my bad. Riparooskies indeed. Can't escape work. But yeah, so I do think that it's going to be very, very interesting to see where they go. Very, very interesting comments, especially when we were just talking off camera about how it's a passing league now. It's a passing league. So you would think that you would want even more, unless they believe that one of those tight ends that they have is going to be a superstar. Because, I mean, we kind of already know what they got in their other receiving options, so who knows. But with that being said, we're actually going to venture over to another team in the AFC. So I think you know them pretty well. The Patriots. The Patriots. So one of the biggest pieces of news that came out this week was that apparently... I mean, shield your ears. I'm sorry, but the Pats are open for business.
Oh, no. You know
what that means? Come on down, Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah, I saw Elliot Wolf. I think he had like a press conference yesterday of some sorts, and I can't remember what the reporter had asked him or whatever, but they asked about the draft and the draft pick and all that, and Mr. Wolf, he said that, like he just said that they're open for business, which I mean, as much as I'd like for them to keep the number 3, like if you get something like a juicy package in return, maybe like 2 first-round picks, because we need help all over the damn place. I don't think we're just gonna make it back to the Super Bowl with one lucky pick, right? It's gonna take a draft. What would you call it? Like multiple draft picks, pretty much. Yeah. So if we can maybe trade with Minnesota and get both of their number 1 picks, I mean, I'd be for it as long as.
Yeah, because they have the 11th and the 23rd, I think.
I believe so. That sounds pretty accurate.
I literally just read about it, so that's the only reason why I can remember it.
That sounds accurate, but I'm not too mad at this situation. Obviously, we still got about a week left for the draft, so anything can happen. But one thing that would kind of disappoint me is, let's just say the Patriots are on the clock, right? Draft day. And then here it goes. Trade or what usually pops up on the screen?
It says trade alert or some shit like that.
And then it's like the Pats trade their pick to whoever. Dude, I would be so disappointed just because, draft day is exciting. Draft day,
exactly. The first round of the draft, I have seen many times where I'm sitting here watching and all of a sudden you see a huge trade and you're like, oh, well, that's kind of deflating. Get it? Riparooskies indeed. But yeah, no. But his comments, the GM's I can't remember what his name is, but the GM's comments were very telling because he was being very honest about it, and he was like, I mean, because you want more players, you want more players, and and that's what he said too. And if you have the draft capital for it, then might as well be open for business. But granted, it takes two to tango, right? So you have to have a trade partner.
Maybe they really want a specific player, and let's just say that specific player gets picked up at number 2. So now they're like, oh crap, like maybe they're taking like calls early just in case their player that they have their eye on isn't available, and then they're able to trade and possibly get 2 first rounders opposed to just 1. So I mean, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah, this time of year is just so exciting because you see with free agency, you see a bunch of these stars that are not trading, but changing teams.
Yep.
And then the draft, you never know what's going to happen. Like you can look at all these mock drafts and you can try to take a guess as to what's going to go on.
Mock drafts don't mean a damn thing.
They don't. But what's crazy is that they get fed to us so much that you kind of start thinking that's
to believe it.
That's what's going to happen. Yep. And then all of a sudden, all it takes is one team to shake everything up. And it's just like, how well are those mock drafts? They suck, but we still eat them up, don't we?
Yep. I mean, it's definitely a good conversation starter, I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
It's cool to look at for sure. And then kind of just speaking on the Pats too, I think this was yesterday, so on Thursday. So there was some speculation that A.J. Brown was possibly seeking a trade to the Pats. Why to the Pats, you say? So someone did some investigating, and apparently A.J. Brown had followed Jacoby Brissett and K.J. Osborne on Instagram, and then people automatically started thinking, he wants to trade to the Pats. Not only that, but then apparently he changed his profile picture to Tom Brady.
That's right.
I mean, people started kind of like connecting the dots or whatever, and then everybody's like, oh crap, like is he gonna request a trade to the Pats or something? And then I think later on I read that he had just got done watching what's it called, the Dynasty or whatever on the Pats.
Oh, okay.
What's that segment series called? The Dynasty, I think it's what it's called. I haven't checked it out, surprisingly.
I haven't. That is very surprising.
I'm not a big TV guy, but nonetheless, apparently he had just watched the Dynasty and he was like so inspired or motivated or whatever. And apparently, I also read this earlier too. He was like this huge Tom Brady fan growing up.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Apparently, whenever they passed him on the draft, because they picked, the GOAT, N'Keal Harry, instead. He went into like his closet and started bawling his eyes out. Apparently, is what
that checks out.
But
knowing who AJ Brown is,
I don't think he's looking for a trade. I think it might just be coincidence that he started following, Osborne and Brissett. I mean, how are you gonna want to go from a possible Super Bowl contending team to a team that's literally on the freaking rebuild mode?
Well,
don't even have a quarterback.
One thing that I did see before we recorded was that he's been a huge Patriots fan and stuff. So if you think about that, I mean, he's still really young. So
how old is he, like 26?
He's 25 or 26, something like that. He's very young. By the way, thanks to our GM for trading away a young superstar. Appreciate that, jerk.
Riparooskies.
Anyway, but no, I mean, because if you think about it, like, if I was a pro player and I had the opportunity to be able to play with my favorite team, I wouldn't give a shit where they were at, like Super Bowl wise, like as a Super Bowl contender. I mean, you get an opportunity to play for your favorite team. I mean, wouldn't you want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
So,
sure.
Do I think that there's any legs to that? Man, it's tough because, I mean, there's so much stuff going around right now.
Yeah.
So much speculation going on.
No, and it's funny too, and I hate to cut you off, but like after we record our episodes, like we have like a day or two where like there's literally like no football news at all. And then just like all of a sudden stuff starts pouring. Like,
oh yeah.
This is going on, this is going on, this is going on. And then we're like, holy crap, like I'm sending Sauceman over here like a bunch of like stuff to talk about on the next episode. And I'm like, dude, I'm like so overwhelmed on like what to talk about.
I know, and it's so hard sometimes because it literally, like, some of them would be good for our new segment Riparooskies, but then some of it's like, well, which one do we throw it on? Like, do we throw it on the podcast? Do we throw it on Riparooskies? What do we do? But it does get so overwhelming sometimes because then you're just like information overload. But the cool thing about it is that all of it just kind of intertwines with each other and stuff. But I'm not sure if you saw, but the other thing that kind of coincided with the whole A.J. Brown talk was that Devontae Smith just got that huge extension.
Do you know the details on that? I can look it up.
I want to say, I'm going to guess. I think that it is 3-year, $55 million.
All right. Keep him busy.
We should actually have a compilation of Hey, keep them busy.
Keep him busy.
That's right. It's either 3 or 4 years, and I want to say it was like 55 million. It might have been 55 million guaranteed was the deal.
I remember seeing it, and I was like, dude, they're paying him this much. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a good receiver, but I feel like, to me, at least, obviously, I'm just a casual, but to me, at least, he hasn't really proven himself to that extent. But it's also due to the fact that you have someone like A.J. Brown on your team.
Oh yeah, and A.J. Brown takes a lot of looks because he is a true number one wide receiver.
I got it here. The deal is reportedly worth $75 million with $51 million guaranteed, and it takes effect after the Eagles picked up Smith's fifth-year option for 2025 worth $15.6 million.
How many years is it?
Essentially making it a 4-year deal worth as much as $90 million.
Oh, okay. I was off then. Where did I get the 3-year 55?
But
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a huge contract.
Like I said,
I do think he's a good receiver, but I'm not a freaking GM, but I wouldn't have given him that much. Like, he hasn't really proven himself to me yet. Like, that.
And if you kind of look at it, the way that the Eagles kind of maneuver their offense, they're more run centric than anything else. A lot of times.
I don't know, man. Like, the Eagles are kind of a weird team.
Jalen Hurts runs a lot.
You never know what you're gonna get from the Eagles. Are you gonna get a 200-yard receiving game from Major Brown, a 100 game from Smith, a 100 game from Brown? Are you gonna get a 3 running back committee?
They have a very good balanced attack, but I mean, what's his name? Swift. He ended up getting a big contract elsewhere because of the fact that he did so well in that offense, and everything. But I don't know, for some reason I see them mostly as like one of those. They're a very balanced attack, I should say. I would say that I personally think that they might be more slanted toward the run, but that's also just pure speculation.
With the addition of Saquon, I mean, that might be a direction that might be headed. Oh my dear God.
I wonder if with the addition of Saquon, if that kind of gives them the extra motivation. Now, see, the only thing that I think is hilarious about the possible A.J. Brown trade would be that, like, who the hell is going to throw him the ball?
Hold on. Let me ask you this. This is kind of off topic, but obviously still football.
Okay.
Who do you think is going to have a more successful season this year? Saquon or Derrick Henry?
Saquon.
100%.
100%. And part of the reason why is because Saquon's going to be behind a nasty
You also got to
O-line.
remember, they lost Kelsey, and I think they might have lost like another piece on that offensive line.
Yeah. Well, it's still going to be a nasty offensive line, but I trust Jalen Hurts more than I do Lamar Jackson. They have more weapons over there in Philly than currently.
Are you disrespecting the 2-time MVP?
Absolutely, two-time.
Riparooskies,
indeed. But I still, that plus Derrick Henry, he has a lot of tread on those tires. And I am actually super excited to see like how he does behind an offensive line that's not dog shit like the Titans was. But anyway, so moving on from that, continuing to intertwine in this tangled web that we weave. So we got some more juicy information this week on why the legendary coach Bill Belichick did not make it through this coaching cycle and everything. Before I give my thoughts, I'm going to let you lead off on this.
So I didn't really read too much about this situation. I was just really, I guess, just busy throughout the week. But from what I did read and from what I do remember, Mr. Robert, supposedly, I don't know how factual this is, but supposedly Mr. Robert Kraft contacted Mr. Arthur Blank and told him Bill Belichick cannot be trusted. Why can't he be trusted? I don't know. I didn't really see the details, but apparently that was going around. And then I think, from what I also read, is Robert Kraft actually wanted to fire Bill Belichick in 2022, but his son Jonathan didn't allow that to happen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Ooh, the plot thickens.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that or not.
I didn't. I read a different article about it, but I read it and I was super, actually, I wouldn't say excited about it, but it like piqued my interest because I mean, we've talked about this before in another episode where it's just like it's super weird that we have an NFL where Bill Belichick is not coaching right now. But one of the things that I read was that I guess whenever he was interviewing and they went all out for him in Atlanta. Like they gave him the whole shebang. They got him a private jet. They took him out they took him on a yacht.
I'm pretty sure they gave him 2 interviews too.
Yes, they gave him 2 interviews, and from the interview, from the article that I read, it looked like he was under the impression that it was his. It was in the bag.
No, and here, let me elaborate a little bit more on my thoughts too. I ended like obviously this is just my thoughts, right? I don't feel like that was the situation. I feel like Robert Kraft is obviously I don't know him like that, but I feel like he's a better.
Oh, y'all aren't tight.
A better. I mean, we kicked it once or twice. We played cool. But
Dang.
I feel like he has more respect for him and for what he did for that organization. Right. So I don't think that happened. And if anything, I feel like Mr. Robert Kraft would have vouched for Bill and said, "Hey, take Bill," or not necessarily take Bill, but like kind of like
just take him, please.
Like, like just a good reference. Like if you quit a job, leave a job on good terms, and then your new job's gonna contact
right.
Like that.
I get that.
I don't believe it.
My question to you though is, so do you remember when you saw this information?
Yeah, I think it was like a couple days ago.
Yeah. Since then, did you see any reports refuting that? Like,
no, and it's weird too because I saw obviously the initial report of Kraft talking to Blank.
Okay.
And then I think today is Friday that we're recording this, and I believe I saw that information on a Wednesday, if I'm correct.
Wednesday, okay.
I only saw that article like once by 2 different media pages, and I saw it for that one day only, and I didn't see anything else like the rest of the week. Granted, it's only been a day or 2, but still, like I don't know, something seems fishy to me about that.
It does seem fishy because it's almost like it almost begs the question, like, was it just such a non-issue between the two? Like, I wonder if maybe they had called each other or something, or email, or whatever they do, send snail mail or some shit. Snail mail. They're old, man. They're old. That's what they do. That's what old people do. That's what we do. Call myself old. But yeah, because the only weird thing to me about that is just like there hasn't been anything dispelling that possibility, that rumor. So I wonder if it's actually truth.
One the thing too is like it's already been, I feel like it's been put to rest. Like I haven't read much about it anymore.
Right.
Like if it was like an ongoing issue or an ongoing whatever, like I feel like there would have been more that's being presented.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And whenever I was reading that article, it's so crazy too that like we both read almost completely different things on that topic. But whenever I was reading it, I guess apparently the Falcons GM said that Bill Belichick wasn't even in the top 3 of their interviews, like as a finalist and stuff, which I would say that it's nuts to me, but in reading the article, it kind of made sense because the last time that we saw Bill Belichick, he had absolute power. So he was both head coach and acting GM. Like he had control over football personnel choices and stuff like that. So I guess the thing moving forward now, the new age thing obviously is analytics, but also it is a collaborative effort. Mm-hmm. So more teams are wanting more collaboration as opposed to just saying, okay, this guy's going to make all the choices. Now it's a room of maybe 3, 4, 5 people that all have to come to a similar conclusion and everything.
Well, I feel like that makes more sense for modern day.
Oh, 100% it does.
So, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. And
especially whenever, like, the last few drafts and everything that he's had, woof. Oh, they've been kind of rough. So, but that's with any GM. Like, every organization's going to have big-time whiffs and everything. So
it's just the nature of football.
It is. So that's why I'm really excited to see the direction of different teams going forward whenever it comes to, like, collaborating and stuff like that. Plus, man, I guarantee you guys, everyone out there is going to be really, really excited moving forward about what's going to be going on this week because the draft is going to be absolutely nuts.
Yeah,
I'm predicting it's going to be absolutely nuts.
It's always a good time. I can't wait to record next Sunday for this next episode, man.
Absolutely. All right, Jose. Do we have anything else on the old agenda?
That's all we got. Folks. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Check us out on YouTube if you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of the streaming services. If you're on YouTube. check us out on the Apple Podcast and Spotify and all that other good stuff.
Absolutely. Because we aren't just checking the YouTube stuff. We definitely appreciate like the downloads and everything that we see on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. It is truly awesome. We always echo, we love doing this. So continue to support. We appreciate you all. And just check it out. FirstRoundBuy.com. Grab you some merch, all that good stuff. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next Sunday.
Peace.